From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing well. It's nice to see everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We are covering true crime. We're covering the case of Sebastian Rogers, a 15-year-old boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And we've got a lot going on here. You know, I've been really covering this case. I've been keeping my eye on the prize. I really have been trying very hard and very diligently to stay out of all of the nonsense going on these streets of social media when it comes to this case. And we've uncovered quite a lot throughout this process. And we're getting ready to start embarking on field work out there in the state of Tennessee. And of course, that doesn't come without its, issues and stuff like that. And so I wanted to publicly state that people associated with Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot have now started threatening me when I come out there. It's been done publicly on the public platform that they have been utilizing. So we now know where threats are coming from for searchers out in the area. I'm going to be doing what I can to protect myself. And as soon as I get there, I will be filing a police report against these individuals, all these individuals, and making sure that I stay ultra safe while I search for Sebastian Rogers. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what was going on. And then in addition, the one Facebook group that's ran by Jonathan Lee Riches, the mysterious disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, has also posted those threats on their public or their private platform that they booted me out of. But of course we have our people still in. And so they sent it to me, and they're actually egging this behavior on from that platform that has almost 40,000 people to do bodily harm to me. So I thought before we started out, I would just kind of make sure that that's public so everybody knows I am going out to Tennessee to do some work, and I don't want to be harassed or injured. With bodily injury or otherwise. So I'm still going to go. It's not going to deter me. I don't get intimidated very easily, but I do make those threats absolutely 100% public for everybody to know what is going on at all times should my safety come into question, or you guys need to, report things later. So that's kind of where we are right now with this whole situation. But I am doing some due diligence. We're honing in on definitely, the times. We're working this. And so now we're down to Christopher Proudfoot, his behaviors, where he was, what he was doing, because we have a mysterious car that's outside of their house that I do believe is Kathy Bauer Sox, Christopher Proudfoot's mother's vehicle. Now, just because I believe it doesn't make it so. It's just my opinion. It is not a stated fact. And there is no substantial, I overlaid a vehicle over it. Not a very scientific process that's leading me to believe that it's her car. So this is all speculative in nature. But again, it's my speculation, and I'm the one that's going to be going out there that has to utilize this information to work an area. But Chris's time is starting to now be what we need to focus on, because we do have a vehicle. Who was in that vehicle? Who could have been in that vehicle? Was it his mother and his mother alone? Was she with her husband, Terry? Or did Chris come back and get her car? Or a combination, of those theories, So that's where we're at, and we're looking at the cranes and the crane operation, because we're learning. We had learned further back that he was at work at 5:15, and many people called that information into question. And because it came from a PI that was associated with the case, I naturally gravitated to that information as credible. I have now had to walk that back because, one, the timeline doesn't work, and two, because my subscribers came forward. Oh, thank you. Came forward and told me that, who did we get the information from? It was from Heather Cohen, one of the PIs that was really chummy with Chris. Did she just take Chris's word for it? What did he produce to her to confirm that he was there at 5:15? What has she ever said? She's a public PI, let's be honest, right? She takes everything to the public. So why don't we have any receipts to confirm that 5:15 time? We have nothing. We have her word. And at this point, her word, I have to, she was fired from the job. So at the end of the day, I've got to look at that. And so when we remove that, things can start making sense for us on a timeline, including Chris in that timeline. And it's that 5:15 that kept holding us up. So now we're going back. Is it possible? And one of my my subscribers reached out to me and also reminded me that, I'm assuming that there's no reason for Chris to be at work at 5:15 in the morning. And she was absolutely right. I am assuming that there's no reason for him to be there. Oh, thank you, Vicky. God bless you. That time of the morning. It's night because it's still dark at 5:15, but it's still early morning. And so is it possible that he was there to help offload some materials or something to that effect? Only the company would know and only law enforcement would know. But, is there a possibility that he had to go to work early? I don't know. I don't know who's responsible for that. Maybe we will find that information out. But I've been watching some cameras, and I found some things very interesting. So I wanted to go back to, I can order these films. They're $250 a piece, and they're not worth it, so I'm not ordering them, just FYI. The image quality that I can view from the preview is really degraded, and it makes it hard to see anyways, and I'm not paying $250 if I can't make sure that what I'm purchasing is what I'm getting for certain days, but they're the only ones that have certain days. So I went to these cameras. They have cameras. And look at, let me get out of the way. Look at the two that were blocked off. The gray ones are unavailable. Unavailable. And out of the whole month of February, the only cameras that are not available are the 25th and the 26th for the month of February. But equally odd, we go to March, and look how many videos are blocked off. Now, I'm not saying that this is all related to the case, but when we know that these most likely are, and these were the only ones in this month, and we don't really have a whole lot of blocked off, unavailable cameras in the archives anywhere before this, we start getting here, and it's like an entire month has been removed from their servers or unavailable to the general public. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if it means anything. It might mean something later down the road. Maybe we don't have the puzzle piece to make this all make sense yet. But a whole month being unavailable in March, it seems like things started heating up a lot around March 16th. And obviously law enforcement wanted to keep the general public out of this area, or the county, or the state. I think this is ran by the state. So TBI would have been able to get this stuff removed. But those are the ones that I thought were the most interesting for removal. Right there. So we've been really looking at this case and honing in on it. And the bottom line is they all left. They all left. Think about this. Kathy Bowersox and Terry Bowersox left literally 2 days after Sebastian disappeared. Chris and Katie packed up their camper and left within 2 weeks of his disappearance. They all left. The only person that stuck around and that was searching daily through all of this was his father, Seth Rogers. Everybody left that was around this boy the majority of the time. His dad only got to see him every other weekend until the summertime. And during summer break, he got him for summer break. Katie is out seen eating and living her best life ever with a new kid. Meet Faith, her new daughter. And we definitely know it's her because the tattoos are there. So this is the camera. As you see, the project's right here. We've been monitoring this project to find out how often the cranes move. When do the cranes stop working? When do they start working? It looks like the cranes do not work at night. Now, this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to be previewing while I'm in the area. I'm going to be going, obviously, by this project multiple times throughout the day, from early morning to late evening, to find out what this is going on. And it's going to be all different days. It's not going to be a specific like Monday or Sunday or anything. It's going to be to get a general idea of this project and its start and stop times. I will be also stopping by City Hall and getting some information from them, as well as I'm going to be going back and maybe looking at some maps of the area, just to get a good lay of the land, because this is an area that I don't know. We have Google Maps, but what are on the real maps? And that's what I'm looking for. What are on the real maps in here? Yeah, I'll be looking up the ordinance. Everybody's been sending me the ordinance, and if you read it, I know that a lot of people don't understand the legalese of it, but if you hear that residential area or residential, that's the ordinance for residential areas. This right here you're seeing here is commercial. Okay, so we need to find the ordinances that cover the commercial erection of buildings, because when you're in a commercial area, you have a little more leniency and latitude to work or start earlier or later. That may not be the case. But there are, like here in my community, there are definitely different rules in the city than there are in our county. So I'm familiar with that. So I want to find out specifically for this area here, what are their rules? I want to find out everything about that. So that's where I'm kind of at. And they have a gating system, so I'll be looking to see if that's a man gate or a key card gate or a combination, where they have a man person there from 9 to 5, but people have access to it after hours. I will be looking at that aspect as well, because if it's not a manned gate, then he would have had to use his key card, which is good. Even though we don't know what that information is, we know that law enforcement can obtain it. And at the end of the day, it's not really, I'm here, I want to see this case through But if I don't have the information, I'm fine with that as long as somebody does, you know? Couldn't you just contact the construction companies? Won't tell you those details. And I don't reach out. I think because this is social media, I have to think their phones probably have been blown up. They probably have been told, no. They're probably very strict that they can't comment or something to that effect. I'm sure everybody and their mother has called this construction company. I'm sure everybody and their mother has called St. Jude's. This is a social media case, and social media just doesn't, people think that it's just them calling. But if they're thinking of calling and pick up the phone calling, there's about 100 to another 1,000 people right behind you doing the same exact thing. So I try to stick with county sources because that's what they're there for. I try to, if at all possible, and unless I can, if I was here and this wasn't going on, I would absolutely, but I wouldn't do it over the phone. I'm a belly to belly person. I feel that people don't know who they're talking to on the phone, and when you need to get some information, them knowing that you're belly to belly with them makes them feel comfortable because they see who they're giving the information to. So it's not open to the public. Yeah, gates are all. This is a construction gate. It's a little bit different. We're in a completely different area than the hospital itself. So the hospital itself, I don't think has the major gate around it. I know they have security. I don't know. I've never been at a children's hospital before. While I'm there, of course, naturally, I will probably stop and say a prayer for all the children that are suffering in that hospital. I'm not there for the hospital. I'm there for the construction site, which is separated from the hospital. It's going to be incorporated into the hospital, but it's at this point, from my understanding, it's still separated from. I could be wrong about that, but we'll find out when I get an opportunity. Okay, well, I'll whether you say its entire campus is gated and locked. If it's gated and locked, I'll be able to. There's receipts for that, right? So no big deal. Who else do we have? Yes, they have. Yeah, I saw that they had their own security. Does Chris still work for this company? It's been, Honeybee, I don't know. He's been vague about everything, and I think he does that intentionally so people don't know. But it's my understanding because of information that I had received. At least it was back in, I have to say mid-April, maybe beginning of May, that they had seen his truck reporting. I can't remember, but I think his truck has been seen there, but I can't be 100. But I'm sure we'll know within the next week or so what's going on. But Chris may have taken off. He may have been fired by now. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that this is comfortable for the hospital or that construction company. The entire yeah, we got that. Yes, they'll definitely have receipts because they are very strict. I can only imagine. That's why I think it's going to be, at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters what we know as long as law enforcement knows. But at least once I'm there, I'll know to the gravity of what law enforcement knows. I may not know what they know, but I'll know how much information they have. I'll know if it's enough. That's all I'm saying. I'm thinking that it's at least from that, we may not know when Chris arrived at work, but I have to think that law enforcement knows exactly when he got on that job site and exactly when he left that job site. We may not know it, but they do. So I don't know if, and we're going by times that we know, not times that they know. So we might be off on our times. But I just feel like the 5:15 is just, it doesn't really seem plausible. I mean, is it possible? Yes. But the question comes back to why? Why in the world would he be there at 5:15 in the morning? If there's no good reason for him to be there, then he either wasn't there or he was there for an intended purpose. Okay, so the recap is we're still covering Sebastian Rogers. We've been trying to figure out, Chris's timeline. We've been looking at a lot of different sources to help. I'm from Florida, so I have to, I have to use the web to help find stuff that I can utilize to explain things and to answer questions for me when I can't be boots on the ground. And one of the ways is our audience. And our audience, from these areas know different things that I don't know. One of them put me on this SmartWay camera. So we have eyeballs on the project throughout the day. This particular project is over here, right? And you can literally see the cranes here. There's the cranes. So we have at least an idea or a scintilla when those cranes stop working and when those cranes are powered up in the morning to start working. And the good news is we have, this project's been going on, so we have archived data that we can actually go back and review and see when this starts and when this stops previously. So we do have other sources to get us and derive some information we did not have. I also had a person that was out there in the area that was able to drive by. It does appear that this job site right here is shut down at night and doesn't start operating again. The crane started moving, not yesterday, maybe it was yesterday. It might have been the day before yesterday. Started moving around 7:41, which would be about right if somebody arrived at 7 o'clock, because if they're clocking in at 7, they're probably grabbing a cup of coffee. But see, what people don't understand is you see this long shaft, it goes all the way down to the ground. This long shaft right here that goes up to, this is where the body sits. This is where Chris would be sitting in the crane, is way up here where the crane is. But this shaft right here has to be climbed up. So every 20 feet, there's a platform that the person climbing up can rest at. So it could take somebody 20 to 30 minutes to get up here, at least 20 or so minutes to get all the way up to get their butt in the seat. Then they got to crank their crane up. They got to let it, warm up and whatnot. So it's possible that these things don't move and don't start getting powered up until 7:30, 7:41. And that's about the time the crane started moving, at least that one day that we looked at 7:41. So we're keeping an eye on this to see if there's a possibility that he was at this job site at 5:15 or his crane was moving, because one of the reasons why he would have to be at the job site at 5:15 in the morning is to utilize his crane for some aspect. In my opinion, that would be the only way that he would need to go there. So like if he needed to help move materials off a vehicle and move them into another area, his crane would be powered up and his crane would be moving at that time. So I don't know if that's the case. And if he was there at 5:15, we do have a missing boy. Was he there early because he needed to use the facilities for something without people being there? So exactly, it's still really, really dark. It's really, really dark at 5:15. So we need to ask ourselves first, would there be any way for him, any reason for him to be there that early, job related reason? And if not, we need to work from there. But I think that at least according to the cameras, it does give us a little more weight that he started his job at 7, not at 5:15. So based on the crane activity that I'm seeing, it appears that the 7 o'clock time is more in line with what I'm seeing visually. I don't know that to be fact, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing visually and what I can make work here. And it does look like these cranes are not moving at 5:15 in the morning. So that's really all I'm saying. So we are doing our work on this. I am looking at a lot of different things. And again, for those that are just coming in, the cameras footage that are not available for me to preview are the 25th and 26th, which that's pretty interesting. And also, almost a whole entire month of footage is missing from these cameras. Almost an entire month. Right here. And I just found that odd. I have not seen that. When I went back, going through the records and stuff, I have not seen this before. So this is pretty interesting to me, that all this grade area here, and it's making me wonder if we might be missing something that might have happened. I think we need to go back and see what the activity of Chris and Katie Proudfoot were around March 16th to around May 7th. There might be something going on here that we're not looking at, because I've never seen anything grayed out like this for an entire this is over, I think it's a total of 30 days marked out here. A total of 30 total days marked out here. And it starts on March 16th. And if we go back, I bet you something started breaking off in the middle of March somewhere with this case. I don't know what, because I can't remember now. I mean, a lot has happened. But it makes you wonder what was going on in this area here. It may be unrelated. It may have nothing to do with Chris and Katie. But I just find it funny that these are the other two dates that are in February. Then when you get to March, you have see there. Look at that. There's February right there, February 25th, and you don't have any blacked out dates. And then right at 16th, you have a total of 30 blacked out dates right in a row. It seems awfully suspect. I'm wondering what was going on in this case between March 16th and March 30th. If you guys know, send me an email and let me know if there was any bizarre stuff, if Chris and Katie were giving additional stuff, what was coming out in those interviews during this time. Were they complaining about anything specific? What did they say about law enforcement during this time? Did they make any statements about law enforcement this time? Were they complaining about law enforcement questioning them about certain aspects at this time from the 16th on to May 7th, April 7th. I don't know why I'm saying May. April 7th. So March 16th to April 7th. So, and actually it might be 3 weeks. It looks like it's a little over 3 weeks. It looks like 21, 22... 23 days, maybe 23 days. Now, maybe it's not a full 30 days, 23 days, it looks like, potentially. But I'm interested in that. And lastly, out of all this, the people that are around Sebastian Rogers, the absolute most, Katie Proudfoot, her husband, Christopher Proudfoot, and their parents, Kathy and Terry Bowersox, all left shortly after Sebastian Rogers disappeared. They all got out of Dodge. They all left the state of Tennessee. All of them. So I have a lot of questions here. This is not really looking good, but we are about to get into the forensics talk, because at this point we believe that the forensics has not been done on the property yet. And that is a problem for me, because when we're reading like the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, and we're reading, federal statute, it appears that they should have at least done that child's bedroom with forensics. I'm still reading through it. I'm still trying to process the language legally. And once I have everything going on, and figure everything out, we're going to be presenting whether or not they should have done forensics by now based upon the national and federal standards. And if they have not, I think they're failing this case. And I hope that they immediately rectify the situation and go in there and start getting forensics done. But I'm still on the drumbeat. We're leaving in a couple days, guys. We're leaving. I still got to get all my stuff charged. I got to get my bags packed, and I've got to get the oil change. Ooh, crap. I need to do that first thing in the morning. I got to set an alarm. I keep forgetting to go and get my oil change. What time is it? I might have time to do it today. But I got to go get my oil changed before I hit the road. And then what's your email? It's easy, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. It's my name at gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And as soon as we get out there, we'll be going live. I'll be going live on this platform. I'll be going live a lot on my YouTube platform. If you guys haven't gone over and subbed up to my YouTube channel, you may want to do that because I go live on there more so than I go live here. I think I go live here maybe 2 times a day. I'm literally on channel throughout the day over there. So if you guys don't want to miss anything while I'm in Tennessee, you may want to consider subbing up over there. All right, guys, God bless you. I hope everybody is doing great today, and I'll be back later this afternoon. I just don't know when, and I don't know what the topic of conversation is because I am researching a bunch of stuff right now. So we'll talk to you soon. God bless.